Hey all, this is Eucep again, and today I'm going to review something randomly. In this case it would be easy snap fit kits from Revell for the Star Wars line. I have two figures for this one, which would be Darth Vader's TIE Advanced prototype and the Millennium Falcon. These are very small kits. They consist of, at least the Millennium Falcon was not more than about 3 sprues. About the same for the TIE Advanced, but I've built this one a lot longer ago, so I don't really remember building it. But nonetheless, let's take a look at these two. I'll give my thoughts afterwards on the kit itself. Let's start off with Darth Vader. Let's see if I can show the interior of the cockpit. There is somewhat of a detail in there, but not too much. Let's see. No, not even with the lighting from above. Can't really see too well into it. Can't really do that either. Just looking at it real life, so it's not just on the camera that it gives issues. It's quite a good model actually. In terms of how it looks compared to how it looked in the show, it's very accurate. Just general aesthetics, quite good. It's made of just very few parts, and everything you see that is painted on it is pre-painted. So this is the way you get it straight out of the box. The only thing which you really need to do is cut it off the sprues and file down some of the remaining flash just to make it a bit more tidy. Like for example here you can just make out a tiny bit of flash, which I've not done. But otherwise, yeah, this is quite a good kit actually, and that for its price, because it's only around 6 to 7 euros. So all in all, not a bad thing to get at all. At least the Millennium Falcon only took me about, let's take a bit, around 20 minutes to put together, and it was finished. I can't recall for this one, but I think this one was actually even shorter. There is very good detailing in it. This entire structure is actually molded in. Perhaps some dry brushing could enhance some of this technical detail which has not been painted. Pretty much the entire figure is that way. Perhaps panel lining could enhance it somewhat, but that doesn't work too well, I think, on a kit like this one. So yeah, that's completely up to you. But frankly put, as you can see, really painting it, it's not needed. Onto the Millennium Falcon. Unlike the other one, this one actually comes with a stand, which is fairly easily removable. Well, easily. It takes some effort to remove it without damaging anything. It's a very simple stand. I did notice when I did take this one out that the plastic itself is actually black painted plastic, and underneath it's the same gray as this. So where there is places where I cut it off the sprue, I actually had to go over it with a tiny bit of black paint, because otherwise it had these light gray eyesores. So having a black Gundam mark or anything like that is recommendable for this kit, at least for just this little bit, because the Millennium Falcon itself has absolutely no issues at all in that regards. It has quite a few more fiddly bits, especially because all these sidewalls are quite a lot of loose separate pieces. Even these frontal ones are just loose little pieces which you could easily lose if you're not careful. But everything, just like with the TIE Fighter or TIE Advanced, it's highly detailed. Every detail that has been painted has been pre-painted, like the engine outtakes and all these other little rust marks and everything. It's not super high grade painting, but it's better than what I can do myself with hand painting. There's even some detail in the cockpit, but not too much. The white paint on the transparent canopy is a bit too light. Could have been a tiny bit darker to match the gray of the plastic a bit more. But otherwise I can't really complain. In the rear there is a blue painted piece, and you put a transparent plastic part before it to give the booster effect. It's not as effective as I'd like to. It perhaps would have been better if there had been a metallic sticker instead, which you could put in between. It probably would have looked somewhat more effective, but then again, this isn't the end you'll usually display him with. For tiny complaints, as you can see, the gun on top is here, but the way it's molded in, yeah, it doesn't really show too well. Same on the underside. The gun is there, but it's either retracted, but then again, it only looks to have one barrel while it are quad lasers. So that's a bit off detail. That's not as good as I'd like it to be. The little dish does not move at all. It's pretty much stuck in this position. And also, well, it looks somewhat decent, but it's one of the weaker points somewhat. But otherwise, I can say it's for the price it is, it's a very good little kit. And yeah, you can put it onto the stand and it'll display in quite well. There's quite a few more of kits in this line. Might get more, but the problem is not too many of the vehicles which really interest me are within this line. It's somewhat limited, not too unsurprisingly, but can I recommend it? I can absolutely recommend it. It are cheap kits, as I said, 6 to 7 euros. I'm not sure what they'll cost outside of the Netherlands, and I'm quite sure that they're more expensive here than elsewhere, so if you find them, they're probably cheaper than this. They're fun to work on. Just make sure you have good clippers and preferably some sanding paper or a file just to work off the rough edges, and that's it. You don't need glue or anything, which is usually the bad point in Revell kits, because I'm quite used to them just not fitting together that well. Things constantly falling off unless you keep hold of them until it dries. But this is just easy to put together. This is pretty much near to how a Gundam kit is. It's just snap fit. It works excellently. The figures you get out of these kits are good. They're durable. But there is a tiny complaint to this. I'm not really sure what kind of plastic this is made of. It feels like normal what my Gundams are made of. But these two are dust attractors without accent, because if you want to keep them clean, you really want to dust them off regularly. They're really full of dust within no time. And that's quite unlike most of my other kits, which they gather dust, but they don't require more than once every 3 months to get them completely clean. This is like every month it's covered in dust. So either putting them in a display place where there isn't really too much dust is probably the only way to keep them dust free, or you'll end up cleaning them every now and then. So this was my review of these easy snap fit together kits by Revell. Thank you all for watching.